We had a pretty good week in the Alpha Chat. I'm trying to get my trades. What was the name? Oh, LBGO. LBGO was the big winner for me personally, and these were all kind of how the trades went. And just get the chart up. So we shortened our time horizon heavily, and you can really only be day trading this market. So this LBGO opened up very strong. We kind of bought into the flag, then as it pivoted and turned upwards and started turning out of the flag, I loaded the boat just against this tiny little intraday pivot and just selling the way up. And those are really the only type of moves I'm trying to capture in this market right now. I don't really have a bias, long or short. I'll go either right now. Everything has to be a really small time frame because you really don't know where the market's going to open up tomorrow. So I don't really like having that overnight risk right now. So I'm going to avoid that. So I'm just going to keep doing these type trades. We had a couple more, but it seemed like the Alpha Chat did super, super well last week compared to previous times when we've gone through this stuff and people try to still swing trade with it, where the market's just not permitting that with the volatility we're experiencing. So great job by the chat. What do you got?
I have the two main ones. One was American Express. When I bought up through 112, again it's lower to like 104 right now. This is kind of reverting back to what we talked about earlier, where you're not really trying to jump in with 2 feet. You're willing to buy a little bit if it comes down further. So this is again I'm down in this position currently. So this is kind of the bad trade. The good one was Mitch MTCH Match Group. They own Tinder. I bought up. This is a big picture idea up through 66. It's basically right there. It's at like 65, 50. It's down a couple cents. So this really isn't a name that hasn't been too getting banged up recently off the market stuff, and this will be one I'll still add up through 68 versus the 62 area support. So it really didn't do much. Again, I was away for the better part of the week, and there was one recent example that, again, when we talk about buyouts, if you want to pull up E-Trade ETFC, we get a lot of these questions about what to do with buyouts, and this is like a really good example because once stocks do get bought out, the chart is you don't see it anymore. So if you're not in a name that gets bought out, you typically don't see it too often. So we know E-Trade, a couple weeks ago had some news that it was going to get potentially bought out in the end of this year by an investment bank, and it gapped up on that news. It was trading at $45 before the news came out, and then when the news came out that it was going to get bought out, gapped up huge, up to 57. And we can see how quickly that this entire move got reversed and then some. And that kind of goes to show you when a lot of times we'll hear newer traders when a stock is getting bought out, they don't know what to do or they think it's going to trade higher. And what ends up happening in most cases is the stock just doesn't move until it gets bought out, or it'll trade in a very small range. This is a really good example of it has news of it getting bought out and completely reverses the move and then some. So just something to remember when a stock is getting bought out, usually the best course of action is just to take profits on that day, then being greedy and expecting it to continue higher. So this is just a really good example. Since we were talking about the airlines and kind of what happened with a lot of the brokers when they had some really bad news in the end of 2019. So I just thought it was a relevant example that might help someone.
All right, good stuff.
All right, I think with that we can jump into book of the week.